Howdy, my name is Martha Dolliver, and for my Psych 107 movie assignment, I watched Catch Me If You Can. This movie follows the true story of Frank Abagnale Jr., who frauded his way through life until the age of 21 when he was caught by the FBI. For a little bit of background, in high school, Frank's father was accused of tax fraud by the IRS, which resulted in his family selling much of what they had, including their car, downsizing their home, and causing Frank to go from a private school to a public school. Eventually, his parents divorced, which caused him to run away when faced with the decision to live with his mom or his father. This film takes place in the 1960s to 1970s. During this time, people were very trusting to Abagnale's poised personality. Also, technology had not advanced enough to verify his forged claims, which allowed him to get very far through his forgery. Also at this time, society was not highly automated yet, meaning that it was much easier to fool people instead of technology. Difficult for his charismatic personality. I diagnosed Frank Abagnale Jr. with antisocial personality disorder. Patients with this disorder may be dishonest, manipulative, exploit others, may not adhere to the law, and some may even be aggressive. Patients with antisocial personality disorder can do all of these things without remorse for others. Considering the film's cultural context, if Frank went to a therapist during this time, they could potentially be biased considering his level of fraud. The FBI was chasing him for a while considering his crimes, and after his trial, therapists could be biased against him and his diagnosis, considering the weight of his crimes and fraudulency. In culture a little bit more broadly, antisocial personality disorder is more likely to be diagnosed in Western societies where there is more of an individualistic idea than in Eastern societies. That also being said, personality disorders as a whole are more diagnosed in Western societies for this very reason. In our culture, there are a few stigmas associated with antisocial personality disorder, such as believing patients are dangerous, violent, and aggressive, which Frank Abagnale Jr. was actually none of these. Prejudice against this disorder can also cause people to be less sympathetic to the patient and not understanding that their actions are a result of their disorder, not their own character. Throughout the film, Frank Abagnale Jr. shows many symptoms of antisocial personality disorder, such as evading the law without remorse, being fraudulent, dishonest, manipulating others and their resources, and exploiting individuals and the bank system for his own profit. Examples of this are seen throughout his creation of fraudulent checks, posing as multiple professions through frauding, such as a substitute teacher, co-pilot, doctor, and lawyer, and his ability to take resources that are not his own and use them to his advantage without remorse. One symptom that Frank Abagnale Jr. does not show is that he is not violent nor aggressive, like many patients with antisocial personality disorder can be. While he does lie to others and take advantage of them, he does not physically injure them. My proposed treatment plan for Frank would be psychotherapy, a change of environment, and constant monitoring. This would help him get out of his old habits, and therapy could also potentially help him understand his past flaws and his new acceptable habits that he should learn. Medications such as antidepressants and antipsychotics are typically prescribed in patients who exhibit aggression, which Abagnale does not, so I would not be including that in my treatment. Some ethical concerns that go along with this would be that since Abagnale would be treated under FBI watch or in custody, his client privileges and privacy could possibly be compromised. Frank's sentence for his crimes could potentially hinder his ability to obtain good treatment. Being in jail, he may not get the best treatment, or his condition could be neglected completely. Catch Me If You Can is technically an accurate representation of Frank Abagnale's case because it is based off of a true story. That being said, his case is very unique, and not all patients with antisocial personality disorder will have a success story or happy ending like Abagnale did. After being caught by the FBI, Frank was able to use his knowledge to help the FBI and banks both fight this crime. This resulted in him making millions of dollars off of this. While this is a true story, it is certainly a unique one too, and not all patients have this ending. Also, the movie never acknowledged the disorder, so many people could look over this portion of the film. Thinking a little bit more broadly, disorders in films as a whole are both unique and romanticized to a certain degree. This can be productive in some cases by opening up the door for conversation and research, but can also create false narratives if simply glossed over.